Eric, what you got?
I've got a flip coming up, and it's my second one in February.
Nice.
And I picked up on the last conversation, the last call I was on, and worked on private money. So you mentioned perspective, so I put one together, and I was talking to what opened it up right after that conversation we had. I was talking to I forget the name of the company, but because I talked a whole bunch of capital, and but they did 100% financing. But it turned out that you had to pay some. I call it an entry fee, so it wasn't points, right? But I was on the call with these guys, and after the call, my whole mind opened up, right, to all these possibilities. And then I started thinking about what they offered. I was like, you know what? This is an entry fee. But
it's a fraud. It's all fraud.
That's what exactly. You can see it, right? So from that conversation, I went back to you and I said, you know what? I got to start raising my own capital. Yep. So I did that for about 30 days. And so far I've got about 50. And what you really don't realize is how much people want to invest. Here it is. I'm trying to raise my own capital and put money in the bank and try to do things myself. But what that fraud did, it opened up my perspective and said, man, if I can get private capital, raise my own capital, you know what I mean? The world becomes nicer because now you can do whatever you want to do, Yep. So because everything is kind of slowed down this time of year, I said, I'm going to spend a lot of time with capital. So I'm putting together a marketing campaign for self-directed, IRAs and things like that, kind of educating people, especially first time and wannabes on how to do that. And I've got a couple of the paperwork. I just gave some paperwork to a lawyer. I had kind of like a template, and she's kind of tightened it up for me. But I think that's going to be, for a company. We've had, me and my brother, we just had, conversations around it, and it's really opened up. It's like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, man, raising capital, I should have did this a year ago. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
Yes.
Where'd you find your capital at?
Say again?
Where did you find the capital at?
One market. You know what I mean? So just friends, and my friends of friends who know me, and get on the phone after about 3 conversations, had about $30,000. After 5 conversations, had 50. It's like, well, damn, how easy was that? You know what I mean? Like, and then with me, I always say you work with integrity. So I just like the model where you're securing the thing with the asset. You know what I mean? And I guess I could ask you. So let's say you have a property, $200,000, private money, right? But one person, but you have to split it up, and private money. Let's say you put in $60,000 in there, but each person only has $20,000. You can't do.
I don't do it.
No good.
Mm-hmm. You're building a fund, so you got to be really careful. The only way you can do it. Sorry, let me close this blind real quick.
Mm-hmm.
See you guys. Merry Christmas if we don't see y'all.
Take care, man.
See ya. All right.
So you're building a fund if you do that. The only way that I know how to do it legally is if you have, 6 people or 4 people, 3 people, whatever you got to put them in first, second, third position.
Yeah.
I don't do that. I find somebody that would put the whole 60 in. I only like to bring in one person on a deal. I do have 2 very good lenders of mine that are in third positions. So I put private money in a second position, and then I took a third on a different one. But they're very good investors of mine, and they're okay with it. And both those properties on 2 different occasions have a shitload of equity in it, and they're okay with it.
Okay.
But I usually don't do that. I want, especially when I'm buying the first time around, both of those that have thirds, I've owned the property for a while.
Okay.
And really what it is they didn't want their money back. They
Mhm.
wanted me to keep investing it for them. I didn't have anywhere to put it, but they wanted it secured. So I put it in a third position to secure it. And
Mhm.
as my properties come available, then I will roll it over to a new property.
Okay.
So
Now, what is the reason not to do the, second, third,
that as you get deeper in, your private money investors don't have the security.
security? Yeah.
Yep. And and if there's enough equity in the deal,
Mhm.
just go out and find you another lender. There's lenders out there will bring in 100, 150,
Mhm.
that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And just find those investors.
Okay.
As you get to using the investors you have, they're going to see what you're doing. And it's not unusual for them to say, oh, I got another 50 or I got another 100 when they really see the money working for them.
Yeah.
And they're making that interest and it's all secured and the payments are coming in every single month.
Mhm.
They end up giving you more money. I got one guy that has over $1 million with me.
Right. And it grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. They started out, like $20,000, $30,000 at a time.
Yeah.
And now I'll call him and I'll have a deal and get 150, 200 from him.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
it really varies. So yeah, just keep at it. So there is in the course, if you go into the resources,
Mhm.
I've added all my private money stuff in there. So you have the private money promissory note I use. You have
Okay.
the deeds of trust that I use. You also have my actual prospectus I use.
Okay. Okay, cool.
So that's all inside the course now and been uploaded a couple weeks ago.
Okay, cool. Nice.
So,
Okay.
but yeah, the biggest thing is just anybody and everybody you talk to, what do you do? I own a private equity firm. What's that? And
Right.
just go into detail and you'll just be amazed how much it opens up.
Yeah. I mean, it was amazing, just basic conversations. I got one friend, they got a bonus. I was a little late because she wound up building a house. And the bonus was she was trying to figure out what to do with it, like 30 days before. And I knew about it, but I didn't think about the private money thing until we had that conversation. And I talked to her sister, and then all three of us was on the phone. She said, Eric, why didn't you talk to me about it? I just had all of that money, but I just, I built the house. I'm building a house now. I said, well, I'll catch you on the next bonus, so
right.
It was easy though, because she was like, yeah, next bonus, I'm good. Well, I'll rock and roll with you. So I was like, man, I really, but God doesn't make mistakes. You know what I mean? Talking to that fraud caused the wheel to turn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So it must be a lot of those guys out there doing that kind of thing. Yeah.
So it's one of those things when you're just talking about it,
Mm-hmm.
and you start building those private money investors, and you get them under your belt, and you get them excited about it, and I always let them know, you know what? I don't have a deal right now because I don't want to make them think I'm desperate by any means.
Yeah.
Even though I might have a deal.
Yeah.
I tell them, as soon as I get a deal come through that I think you might be interested in, I'll send it over to you. If you like it, great. If you don't, okay, no problem. I'll just go to the next guy. I've got, 2 or 3 of you that are wanting to get in with me.
Gotcha.
And so I just present it to them. I've got 2 new guys I just picked up in the last couple of weeks that are wanting to invest with me.
So do you, when you do that intro, do you discuss money or you let them decide how much money they want to invest?
A lot of times I'll ask them what they have available.
Gotcha.
You're thinking 10,000, you're thinking 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
And I let them know you can get started with 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, the other thing I always ask them though is, what kind of return are you wanting?
Mm-hmm.
Because in your mind, because we're in the industry,
Mm-hmm.
you might be willing to pay 10, 12, but they might be happy with 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
So, ask them, what kind of return are you looking for? I've got one investor that's in the game and they're happy with 8. Okay, I'll pay 8 all day long.
Yeah.
I'll pay 12 if you have to have it, but 8's great for me.
Right.
You're happy, I'm happy. So that's a big question. So don't just come back and say that, we pay, 10 to 12% interest on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I'll do that to try and get a spark out of them. And I stay in the double digits for a reason because they can't get double digits anywhere else.
Yeah.
That's still good for me.
Yeah.
But I also preface that with, it depends on the deal.
Gotcha.
So some deals pay higher. So I've got one investor that he's okay with 8%. I had a deal come across that I was able to pay him 1 point a month because it's transactional money.
Okay.
And I'd have it for about 6 to 9 months. He says, "You're going to pay me 1 point a month?" I went, "Yeah." He said, "I'll take those all day long."
Yeah.
And he just texted me last week, actually, and says, "Hey, you got any more deals coming?" I went, "Yep, there's some coming down the pipeline, but not for 12%.
Right.
Depends on the deal. So it does really depend on the deal and how that works. But yeah, just open it up. And then once I have them interested, if I don't have a deal right away, I do keep them interested just by hitting them up and shooting them a text now and then. Hey, I haven't forgotten about you. You know, we are working on some deals. Nothing's passed through inspection that I'm happy with because I'm very picky about what I do to secure you and secure me. So I'm not just going to throw money out there to buy a deal.